Hey, Harry here, and today I've got another book review for you. This book review is going to be on The Mark of Athena by Riordan, and this is the third book in the Heroes of Olympus series, and I believe the seventh book in absolutely everything to do with Percy Jackson. So, oh my god, this is such a good book. To jump straight into this in a non-spoilery review, I'd recommend that you read all this series, anything to do with Percy Jackson, because the way it's written, if you like Greek mythology, you're automatically gonna love this. The character development and the character relationships in all these books are so relatable, and you just fall in love with the characters. And I'm a little hung up over this book just because of the way it ended, and it shattered my heart a little bit. So now to jump into this review is going to be a bit spoilery because it is halfway through this series, so I am going to be talking about things in the first and the second book, as well as relationships that have been developed since the very first book. So if you don't want to see that, I'd recommend you go read the book, then come back and watch this video. Now, Mark of Athena starts roughly where Son of Neptune finishes, but we're now jump back over to the Greek side, and we start off from Annabeth's point of view, and she's finally coming in to meet Percy on the Argo 2 with all the other crew like Jason and Piper and Leo, and oh my god, the feels. When those two meet, it's just like perfect, the reunion, just after waiting so long, and the build-up of the first two books, it was just, I found it perfect, and I just loved how chilled out Percy was. As well as that, I liked the budding, I almost said romance then, the budding bromance between him and Jason right at the beginning. You could spot it, and the way it develops throughout the book as well is just spot on. It's like those two hate to be around each other, but actually really like the rivalry between them both. It's just something really interesting that I like that Rick did. Now to talk about the story, this story, it starts off with a big bang, which didn't really need to be there, but it was a nice way of getting basically the quest of 7 started. So it was interesting, and then with Leo being possessed, it was a bit like, so yeah, it was great, it was great. But what I found really amazing about this book was, since it was such a big group of people, I liked the way that they all went off and did their own little thing in their own group. So it was like mini quests, and then they used to meet up on the Argo and then relay information between each other about what they've done, and then they carry on to the next main objective. And I liked the way it was. It was like you could see the quest developing and their movement forwards. I very much enjoyed it. Now to talk a bit more about the characters, I'm going to start off with Raina, who is the leader of Rome at the moment. I like the way that she dealt with the whole thing with Jason. She's clearly a little hung up over it still, but with all the pressure that's on top of her, you can sort of expect it. Now with her character coming into the next book, and especially with the way she went out this, chasing them down, trying to kill them, etc., I can see her role not being a very happy one. Because just the way she is, she's commanding this entire army, let's say, herself, without any support, because the two other people have jibbed off onto this main quest. And I feel like she needs a break, but she's not going to get it, and it's not going to end happily for her. That's what I think's going to happen to her. But as a character, I did enjoy it. Well, she scared Annabeth somehow, so she must have some sort of great power behind her. Now to jump on to some of the lower casts, and let's start off jumping in with Leo. I like the way that Rick went about him, because he is the odd man out. He is, as they say in the book, the 7th wheel, which is going on right now. And I like the way that Leo, how no matter what, he's very level-headed, and he can always see the objective, and he's moving forwards, he's staying happy, and he's helping where possible. And god, if he ends up getting with Hazel, I won't be happy, because Frank is a badass, man. Him and Hazel, well, Hazel's just adorable, and then Frank's character is badass as hell. Where was it? I think they were in Atlanta when him and Percy got locked in the cage. That shit was funny, especially when he turned into the goldfish and then they could talk to one another. I thought that was spot on. That whole like scene was perfect for me. Now jumping on to Jason and Piper, or Pippa, however you want to pronounce her name. They weren't exactly bad, but I can't think of anything memorable. The whole Hercules arc was pretty cool, but other than that, I think they're gonna have some major development. But throughout this entire book, every character is developed forwards, and now this brings me on to like my last point on the character development. Percy and Annabeth, oh my god, when Annabeth was like talking to Percy about how they've known each other since they were, I think, 12, it just like hit me. They've been like journeying for so long, and they're now reflecting back on things they've already done, and I can't help but wonder, is something bad gonna happen to them? Well, if you've read this book, you already know what fucking happens, and heartbreak and essential. I think I'm well too hung up over this book to give like a thorough review, so I'm just throwing my thoughts out there on what I thought about this book. But overall, I did really enjoy this book. The ending shattered my heart. Annabeth's whole solo quest was spot on to the T. We all knew she was strong and wise, but now we just seen her go through these challenges, and we know how strong she is. We've seen it now, and the way she tricked, yeah. I should stop throwing all these spoilers out there. But that's what you do in these, so I hope you've actually read the book and you didn't actually watch this like review without reading it, because I've spoiled so much. But it was a great read and I'd highly recommend it. And that ending, I don't even know what to say about the ending. It was that like, because I didn't see it coming. I just thought that like Jason would do some like sweet ass flying moves, or Frank in his little birdie form would catch him, but I don't know what to say. I bet there's a fan fiction out there, like, before this series started, of Annabeth and Percy going to the depths of hell. I'll say that because then it won't spoil it that much if you haven't read the book, but yeah. So overall for this book, my rating, if you couldn't already guess, is going to be a big ass 5 out of 5 with whole annotation and shiz. I'd recommend this book. Highly recommend it. Go read it. It'll give you all the feelings in the world. I definitely recommend starting at Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief and reading right the way through. Guys, that's been my review of The Mark of Athena. Definitely pick it up. If you like this, it's sort of been a discussion video as well as a review. So if you like this sort of format where I give a brief review at the beginning and then jump into a discussion spoiler sort of thing, then please give me a comment below and tell me if you'd prefer that, because I might start doing that instead. I've been Harry and I'll see you guys very soon. Goodbye.